Hello, and welcome to Elliott's podcast. This is a special edition. It's being recorded in on video and on and for sound. So this is new because it's actually a feature in Anchor, which is the tool I use to make my podcasts, and it will hopefully, if everything works, it will do a video for Spotify, and then it should this is where I'm hoping it will make the audio version for people who listen like on Overcast and the other networks. So I am sitting in a corridor on the way to the bathroom over there. So I typically, and I'm on a yoga block. On a yoga block. I just took 7 doses of ayahuasca. Just kidding. From the Amazon. I sit in the corridor here. This is why the video is very interesting. Is I sit in this corridor because it's a quiet place, and if I sit in my den, I don't feel very comfortable because I feel like the neighbors walking by can hear what I'm saying. And since my podcast is so controversial and I'm a radical, I don't want anyone hearing what I say. So that explains why I just like the quiet and the privacy. Let's say if I were to practice singing, I'd probably do it in this area. My bed is just on the other side of the camera, and that's the bathroom, and these are closets behind me. So it works pretty good. The big difference though is that I usually actually record my podcast on my phone, and right now my phone is being used as the video camera because I know it will have the stamina to do the, say, 10 minutes that we'll be here for. And therefore that means I have to use this microphone, and I'm recording on the Zoom. So this is like a complete disaster in the works. This is like totally goes against my ethos as of late, is for all this stuff, is like keep everything super simple. Stop futzing around with, you thought I was going to say something else with the futzing there, Stop futzing around with technology, because like it's a mess. When this is over, you know what I have to do? I'm going to have to take the video, and then I'm going to have to take the sound off of this sound recorder, my Zoom, which I think is going to die in the middle of this podcast. The battery's a little low, and that battery, the AA batteries, have to power the microphone. So there's just so much that can go wrong. I have to sync it up later afterwards, and I'm a really lazy person. So I try to not do this kind of stuff typically. I've had very good success just recording my podcast on my phone and the Anchor app, and I talk about that a lot because I felt like that was a huge win for me when I learned that I don't have to do things very good to do things very well. And I guess that taps into another idea that I popped into my head today, is that you don't have to, let's say you want to become a musician, you don't have to be a good musician to be a musician. You have to be a musician who shows up in order to be a musician. And that's what I'm working on more lately. I made a video this week that was me playing music, and it was real, I'd say pretty goofy, but the music is pretty good in it, and people really enjoy it so far. And so I think there was a bit of a win there because I'm able to remove this idea that I need to be a good musician to be a musician. And I think a lot of musicians get stuck on, oh, well, my heroes are so noble, and they're so they have it together in every way. Well, I think, what I've been going through in the past month or more is just shattering the image of what I maybe had been building up and breaking it down into pieces and going back to my roots, which happens to be, I've learned, with blues music and soulful music and going back, and I mean now learning more about gospel music, and I'm writing gospel I'm writing music about Jesus, not really, but a lot of the old gospel really, the gospel has a lot of references in the Old Testament, and I'm learning to just have fun with this stuff, and I will pair back eventually with some of the music that I had been working on with the ambient stuff. I know there's connections, they will happen, it doesn't matter. But so needless to say, this is 5 minutes and I've not even said hello, like introduced the episode of what this is about. So if you're new, you might be new to my podcast because you're not used to seeing, because this video can now be shared on other platforms. So new people might be seeing this podcast for the first time. And so I welcome you to the podcast, and you might get a gist now of what's happening is that I really just talk and I just go on and on and on and on and on. And I don't care what you think about that, because it's about time that someone came along and just talked. No, realistically, today's episode is actually a holiday gift guide. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm going to share some holiday gifts for musicians, and I'll see what else comes up. I'll say a few other things, and then we always play one of my songs on the podcast at the end of the show. I actually have a sponsor, so and this is a good timing for video because I can actually hold up things. It's show and tell, but I am very cognizant that you might only be listening. This is a coffee filter by a company called Buffalo, which is spelled with a PH, and they sent me this, and they're a Canadian company, and it's a drip filter. So I love, and I want to be doing more stuff like this because I love coffee. I kind of like tea. I'm not like a crazy tea aficionado. I don't know much about tea. And I love kombucha, and I love health products. I love wellness. So I want to be able to share products with people on this show and things. And so this Buffalo. So this week I'm talking about this filter, but they also have other filters. Another one is a paper one that's meant for camping, and I'll talk about that next podcast. That one I'm still learning the ins and outs of that product, so I can't really talk about it too much. But this is a stainless steel filter, and it's there's actually a kitchen product that looks similar to this, cone shaped, that does something similar. I forget what that's called. I used to work at a cooking show a long time ago, so I know about different cooking gadgets, but I love drip coffee, like pour over drip is my thing. I actually want to go to school for it or take a course. I love it that much and learning about it. I mean, the course you take is called working in a cafe that serves it on the menu. It's not really practical to serve in a cafe because drip coffee pour over for one person is a at least 3-minute job. So at least it, and I'll just quickly share what I've found about the Buffalo filter. They're actually based in Calgary, Alberta, and it's an Amazon. They sell these on Amazon. That's how I actually originally found the company. I was a little bit of a long story why I was searching for some coffee products. I can't tell it now. That's just going to waste too much time. But anyways, I found them through Amazon. And so the first cup I brewed with it, so I like strong coffee. I guess I got brainwashed by the goddamn Starbucks trend. And I think it's a little sacrilegious, because strong coffee does not necessarily mean good coffee and that you can really taste the beans and everything. But it just happens when it's in the morning, I want strong coffee, and I have different techniques for doing that. And I've learned different techniques. I feel like I have so long to go in learning coffee brewing. And this is where I'm hoping that this will be of relevance to someone who might be in a whole other area where they can't even buy this filter, but I'm sure it ships all over the world. I think it's in the $20, $30 range, Canadian dollars. So it doesn't use paper. It goes into this steel contraption into the cone, and there's a lot of little holes all throughout it. So it actually pours very quickly, so you got to be careful. I found it was better to make the grinds a little coarser, because I think that would slow down the coffee. Now, I could be completely wrong, and so I'm not going to be too prescriptive about grind size right now. But what I will say is with all drip coffee, be very careful about how much water goes in right away. So that's why people who do drip and they do it seriously, they have a scale and a timer, and so they know how much water is going in how long time. And then on top of it, they use a gooseneck kettle, because that the one with the long spout, so that it can be dripped in a lot slower than a normal kettle. So I have a normal kettle, which makes it hard to you pour it slowly. But my trick is that you do one small pour to wet the you wet the coffee, and then the next pour is not that. If you want strong coffee, then the first pour has to be fairly small, and just don't go crazy on the first one. I think that extracts like a strong base. And then you might do a few more pours, but in each one, I like to let it drip as long as I can and extract. So hold on, my phone now says low battery. So that's just my trick. I've already made some very good coffee with Buffalo. Oh, hold on. Oh. Okay. I've made some good coffee with it. And it's great. I love supporting, as I said, Canadian. Yeah, that's my Clean Canteen, another healthy product. It's a Canadian product, this Buffalo filter. Only problem is that you have to scoop out the coffee and then dump it out, and you probably are aware you shouldn't be dumping too much grains down the drain. It's not good. So you want to get as much out of there as possible. And then I've found some grains do go down the drain. And now I have to write a song about the grains down the drain. So that's that. Now the holiday gift guide. So when buying gifts for a musician, basically just don't go crazy, because same with buying anything for anyone. And I should back up a second, and we should just clarify that I don't entirely support this gift giving business and these holidays, because it's just promoting capitalism. I'm just kidding with you. There's some good Seinfeld stuff about communism and the holiday. There's one holiday one, and then there's another one with Hop Sing But I'm pretty sure there was a holiday Seinfeld with communism as well, and Kramer and Santa. But I do feel a little weird about the purchasing and the crazy buying and holiday parties and seasons. It's just, it's not, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are on the same page as me. Other people are like, oh, what are you saying? I love Festivus. I love getting together with people in my family, and it's so sweet. And then the rest of the world is like, this is goddamn hell. I mean, being a Jewish person is pretty funny around the holidays because, okay, we have like a bit of Hanukkah where you eat really gross, latkes are delicious, but they make you feel awful after. They're deep fried potato pancakes. And then, but then when it comes to Christmas time, like the city completely vacates itself, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm not one of you apparently. I'm a little different. I'm gonna go have food with the Chinese people who the Chinese restaurants are open and the movie theaters. So it's a very neat excuse me, interesting, neat time. I get a lot of creative work done over the Christmas holidays typically. But so yeah, well, now that that's out of the way, the gift guide stuff. So yeah, just, I'm really talking about stocking stuffers here. It's quite obvious. I don't think anyone really buys a musician a big product for Christmas, but, I would give some options for bigger. I mean, we're also talking about budding musicians in terms of like kids and that sort of thing. But I think like really realistically, this is about stocking stuffers. The first one is this tuner. It's called the Snark tuner. There would be similar one if you don't get Snark in where you live, because I think Snark might be Canadian, but it's an amazing tuner. It clips onto guitars and ukuleles, probably violins. It's an instrument tuner. I love anyone who's used a Snark, and everyone I've spoken to, they can't live without it afterwards because it actually tunes the instrument a lot better than a lot of guitars have a tuner on board, and this one works way better. So probably in the $20 to $30 range. They have a mini one that's a little cheaper. This Korg metronome, I love this one. This is the Korg MA2. I think this is a great gift, and they have a Pokemon version for that, or that's more kids friendly. It's a beep sound, which is not really that great, but it does tap tempo. So if I'm like thinking of a song in my head, so now I know that's a 105 BPM song. So when I go over to the computer, I can start something at 105 BPM, and then I'll go da 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 da. So, it has this. You can also add in You could go triplet, 2, 3. Let's go triplet and so you can practice different rhythms. Those were I guess you call those subdivisions. So you can come up with really good ideas just by those alone. And then so time signature and subdivision, and then the best feature of it is this timer, which I can't really show. And the timer I actually use for my journaling. I set the timer, which could also be like a kitchen timer. It could be a timer for brewing coffee. 3 minutes is what Buffalo suggested is the amount of time to brew in their contraption. So, but I like the timer. The timer was put in here, I think, because like you could say I'm going to practice music for 20 minutes with this metronome, and that's probably what it was there for. So And there's a third feature, which is the tune, a pitch tuner. That's just like a tone. That's E, I guess. I don't know. It says 440. Yeah, it's the Korg MA2 metronome. I like it. I think this is a solid gift. Most people don't know that they need a metronome, and then or you might have a normal metronome for your kids, the one that goes click clock, and I think this is better. As long as people use the different features, it keeps bringing up the value of it, because the one sound is a bit of a problem. That beep is just a beep. Also has headphone out, so you could, I'm not going to get too into it right now, and I've never really done this, but you could use it for swing training in golf with the headphone out, or other uses. The headphones are useful, but the Korg actually makes one for golfers that's an earpiece that I don't know what BPM it runs at, and so that's kind of interesting too with the headphone out. I love that. Another, I forgot to bring it over for camera, and it doesn't matter because this is audio as well, but some people start out with guitar straps that are like $10. You can get $100 guitar straps, which are way more comfortable, and I have a nice leather one that's wide, and I think that stuff is a nice gift. Some of them are really nice. So if you know that your partner or your kid has a cheap, awful guitar strap, you can also look to get a better one. I think Levy's is a really good brand at the moment. A music stand is nice. I saw my niece is learning guitar, and she had music just sitting next to her on the couch. I said, no, we need a music stand. So that's another useful one that some people forget to have, and I've been there myself where I don't really have it handy, and it's hard to just read music or just look for your songs. And you can even put a tablet on a music stand too. So a lot of keyboards nowadays have music stands kind of on them, so that's not always the biggest it's more for people playing other instruments that need a music stand. Two more gift ideas. Just let me get some water here, because we've been going on for 20 minutes. I had a salty dinner, so I'm a little thirsty and parched. All right, so two more gift ideas. I'd say for a budding podcaster, if they want to be like me, USB microphones, very good. I think the Shure MV7 is a good one to look at. It's kind of like a fake SM7B. The SM7B is the traditional podcaster mic that you'd see on a lot of shows like Joe Rogan and whatever. And then what else is there? There is the so USB microphones are handy nowadays. A lot of people working from home, they might want to. They could be very useful. It plugs into Zoom and everything. And they're around the $100+ range. I wouldn't go anything under $100. I did find Shure to be good, but a lot of people buy the Blue brand. Blue Yeti is very popular. There's so many USB it is an insane market, the USB microphones. I'm using XLR. XLR is how a traditional microphone plugs in, and nowadays a lot of these USB microphones have both XLR and USB. So that's one of the most intense gifts I would talk about, because the person really would have to have said that they want something like that. You can't just buy that out of the blue, because once you get into video recording gear and everything, that's what I was trying to say earlier, is like you can't just buy stuff for people randomly. And ukulele, good. but are you sure the person's going to take it up and play it? And guitar, there's for kids, there's Denver makes little starter guitars. I would prefer people start on the guitar, to be honest. I find the ukulele tuning, it's okay for these chords and it's very accessible and stuff, but the tuning is so weird. Like, it doesn't really, aside from strumming and holding down chords, you're not really going to set yourself up for learning the guitar with a tuning that is that different. So that's just my opinion. But those are ukulele and starter guitars. I mean, ukulele can be purchased for $30 to $40 starting point, around $100 for a good ukulele, and then guitars, I think around $150 Canadian for like one of those Denver, either half size or 3/4 size, and those are not very good guitars, but good for a kid. And then if it's an adult starting guitar, that's about $200 to $300 starting point. So yeah, that's just some ideas for you. And yeah, I would say do your research, go to the stores, hang out there, and yeah, just don't go crazy. I think buying a full instrument is a bit intense, but I like the idea of the stocking stuffer, fun little things like I showed with the tuners and the straps and whatever. If you kind of know that the person needs a bit of an upgrade. So that's my holiday thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to share with you. I guess I will say one thing that I'm working on is I had a goal that I don't know if I'm going to make the goal in any way, but I've been saying the goal for a while. I don't know what will happen. I think I'm maybe naturally manifesting the goal, but I wanted to start making $500 $500 a month on music by January. And it's a tough goal. I mean, but the goal was there so that I would keep myself accountable to really, really giving music my best shot. And yeah, I think what I'm learning is that, and I've talked about it in previous podcasts, that like oftentimes we're like, okay, I want recurring revenue. I want this amount of money a month. I'm going to start a Patreon. I want people on my Patreon. I'm starting to learn. I think it's really about just show up to make your music and make connections. And that's what I've been doing. I'm starting to make these more videos and having fun with it, because I think that's all that really matters, is like entertaining people, making that connection, and so forth. And it's not really about, like, I think the more you think about things, the worse it gets. The mind is an awful object. It constructs all these things and then it gets stuck on them. So, I mean, that's just where I'm at right now. I don't know if I'll make the goal. I think the other part of the goal too is that music really is I think a performing art, and it just, I'm being reminded that money in music is, I mean, yes, money is made from licensing your music and that sort of thing for soundtracks and selling it in streams and whatever. But I think overall it's been almost tried and true that when you play music, people pay for it, and live streaming has been very important for that, for the industry. I've talked about that last week in the New Frontiers of Music episode. Lots of great stuff happening with sort of Twitch streams and that sort of thing. So yeah, the goal for me is just keep playing, let people see me playing music and show up on video, have fun, write new music, experiment, don't be attached to one version of myself and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what's going on in my head. We're pretty much wrapping it up here, and I play one of my songs every week. I keep looking down because I'm like checking the batteries on this recorder. I think it's just about to die. I'm amazed it lasted this long. but we're going to play a song called The Entire World in a Tiny Grain of Sand. It's an ambient piece. It's very cool. It's a swirling piece. I was very happy with this one. I don't remember what month it's from, but that will take us out, and maybe I'll have some visuals with it. And so, yeah, thanks for listening to this episode. If you happen to have been watching it, thanks for watching, and I'm grateful for you to have hung around and to be here with me. And I hope you get some nice gifts for your loved ones, or ask for a good gift this year, and get your studio gear and your music gear up to speed and how you want things to be. So, all right, I'll scooch out of here now, and take care. We'll see you next week. This has been Elliott's podcast. I'm Elliott Feinberg, and I have a website, elliottfeinberg.com. And yeah, let's keep this party going. All right, take care.